Hey guys, as always, welcome to Applebee's. Those that are obsessed with controlling our lives are the biggest frauds in the game. Let's talk about that. Today's episode is brought to you by all the you Patriots. Thumbs up are always fantastic. Comments down below are always fun as well. So thanks for all of that. I'd go through a pandemic any day with you Patriots. Y'all rock. So thanks. Now, this is going to be kind of L versus R a little bit, but before we go too far down the leftist side, I want to say at the end, we're dealing with Republicans, and I'm going to make a prediction about those nitwits, here at the end, so stick around. Got a prediction, want to hear what you have to say about that. Now, those that try to control our lives are the biggest frauds in the business, and I open with that. I want to give you a few examples of that. And I do believe people are fed up, and I think it's time to start a conversation about that. I do want to hear what you have to say, because I am curious if y'all are as fed up as I am. If you take a coffee mug, it might have cracks in it, but you can't always see those cracks unless you put it under pressure or under strain. Y'all have done that, like really pull on the handle on a coffee mug, and you can really see that crack. I think it's cracked, and then you pull a little extra to see if it's really cracked, and it is. Often stress is what reveals cracks. And right now we're going through the stress of the pandemic. And it's been very revelatory or revealing of the left. Now, anytime I say the left, I have people email and say, Johnny, the left is different than liberals. Anyone that hates America is over there on that side. That's who I'm talking about. I don't want to get into the semantics of this little group versus that group. Anyone that hates America, those folks, and they're a bunch of frauds. I'm going to show you why. Now, there's a lot of easy examples like Pelosi going and getting her hair done. We talked about that 2 weeks ago, as well as Cuomo and his nipple rings going to the barber shop after putting restrictions on his area. And then Kamala laughing in the face of reporters about how much she smokes weed when she put record numbers of people of color behind bars for smoking weed. She's a fraud, a complete fraud, and then laughed about it, had the gall to laugh about it. Now, we go under even more stress and strain, and it reveals even more cracks in how those leftists are a bunch of frauds. Few examples here. Gavin Newsom, y'all saw that. He puts California under lockdown, and what does he do? He goes straight out to eat and says, oh no, I was outside. No, you weren't. Champ, you were inside, and regardless, you were doing exactly what you said that your plebeians and your servants couldn't do. But rules for thee don't apply to you and me. Maybe I got that backwards. CNN, turns out they've been blocking and consistently blocking out that Hunter Biden story and 100 other stories, but that's the new one, the one that people have shown this week. Yeah, they didn't want to talk about that. They say they're, open and they're going to share the news. No, they're a propaganda machine. Austin Mayor, this is a pretty good one. Austin, Texas Mayor Steve Adler, he issued Thanksgiving stay-at-home orders. And what did he do? He went to Mexico, straight to Cabo, straight to Mexico. It's what these people do. Rules for them don't apply to me and you, and rules for us don't apply to them. They live a separate life. Remember, and I've talked about this before, remember when Congress voted in the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare? Yep, they exempted themselves and their families, and they wouldn't even put their children under that, but they made me and you follow those guidelines. Nonsense. LA County Supervisor Sheila Kay, I don't know how to pronounce her name, but she voted the week of Thanksgiving to shut down outdoor eating and talked about, the mass hysteria and the danger to health. She left that meeting and went straight out to eat, and then gave a really, really good excuse why that was okay for her. Very gallant of her. Chivalry is not dead. We don't have a lot of allies in the Middle East. We've got one good one. I'm not chasing the Israel thing with you people today. We're not doing it today. Anytime I mention IWI and how I love the Jericho, people get upset at me, but we're not chasing that today. But they are an ally, regardless of your politics. They're an ally. We have very few. Rashid Tlaib, on the 29th of November, released a nasty tweet, nasty from the river to the sea, and pro-Palestinian, anti-Israeli, and then, of course, she deleted it. Says she's an American. No, she's a fraud. Congress, and again, I've got a list here of Congress, but I'll stop right there on them. It's just nonsense what they vote for themselves and how they exempt themselves. And we'll chase on another day that slush fund that they have to protect them in court cases for assault cases and sexual assault cases and child sniffing cases. A bunch of nonsense. And it goes on from there. Like, there's a whole bunch of cases I wrote down here, but let me just say this. I got really involved in this world in 1990 and 1991. The 92 election, I was 18, and I was super, super involved, super plugged in. I can remember playing basketball in the driveway and having the hatchback on my Toyota open and listening to Rush way back when Rush was brand new, and just really, really felt plugged in. And I even knew then that the left was a pile of frauds. That's my word of the day. It's a bunch of frauds, and they are, even the COOF, I think, has revealed a lot of that, like the coffee cup, but it's been that way for 25, 35, maybe 100 years. I don't know. Now, it's a mess. I think people are fed up. Here's why. Because these are the folks that want to tell you how to live. They're the ones that say how big of a drink you can drink in New York, whether you can use paper straws or plastic straws, and then they go and do whatever they want and live however they want. Large group of lawmakers in Washington and California put their states on lockdown and then flew where for Thanksgiving? Straight to Hawaii. Over 100 legislators went there to have themselves a really nice time outside while their states were on lockdown. Again, frauds. And while I'm at it, it's often the folks that are the most tolerant towards all things. They're tolerant and accepting of all people unless you're a Christian. And then they're 100% against you and everything you believe in. Yeah, tolerance, my poot tootie. So again, obsessed with telling others how to live, yet won't look in the mirror at themselves. And I think for me, I'm at this point where I think people are fed up. I really do. And sometimes people in comments will say, well, Johnny, you're just talking. Yeah, it's what I do. I get a conversation started, and there's other things I do. I've been in meetings all day today, and I do think it's important to talk and to have a civil, and I hope sane, and I do hope logical conversation about this stuff. I'm fed up. Are you? Now, you may say, Johnny, you're just banging on the left again. Yeah, I'm also upset at the right. Big time. Prediction. There's a lot of money in the war machine, and looks like we are headed towards a President Harris 4-year term coming up soon. The war machine is about to get restarted. I don't know that. I just know from past history, everybody besides the T-Man from about 1980 forward have been obsessed with running that war machine because there's too much money not to run it. Watch when it happens. The R's and the D's will vote together to cash those checks, and they'll get that war machine going. We'll send kids overseas, and people in D.C. will make a bleeping fortune. So I'm mad at both sides in a lot of ways, and it's not just all one direction. But for today's video, yep, it's a bunch of frauds. I'm here to say that, and that's my point for the day. What do you think? Do you see a bunch of frauds out there? Now, I get a lot of stuff in the mail. P.O. Box is right down below. Y'all send a lot of really, really cool stuff. This is a doozy. Matt from Arkansas sent this in, and it's 30 cal clip. I can actually say clip on this one. How cool is that? Somebody yesterday saw it. They said, what are you going to do with it? I was like, I'm going to sit it on my desk. Ultimate paperweight. Check that out. So big thank you to Matt from Alaska. Pretty cool. To anyone that is against us, who wants to send our kids overseas so they can pocket the cash, or they're against us or our way of life, or want to tell us how to live while living a completely separate way. Yep, to all of those folks, surrounded by a Gomer pile of hot brass. Shazam! From my cold dead hands. Bye.